What's going on, YouTube? So, trying something again. After driving all my trail finders, and I've got that custom rear bumper on the Amigo. You can see it's still got dirt packed in the grill. It needs a little bumper. It needs, I think it could use a little stinger tube bumper, something to just add a little protection. But my goal is to get something that mounts to the frame, not the body, because I don't want to cut the body. I don't want to cut the stock bumper off and put a real nice aftermarket bumper on it. I want to maintain the original body, so I'm going to try to make one. Some folks out there have given me tips on brazing. I've got a propane torch. I'm going to try that. If that doesn't work, I will go get a map gas. It's a little hotter. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so first just trying to come up with the design. I've been looking at stinger bumpers online. A lot of them are a little too much, a little too flashy for what I'm going after. Kind of going more for like the pre-runner Baja style. Simpler the better. I just want a single bar with a stinger, and it has to attach to the frame. That's going to be the tricky part. So I've already kind of got started. I've just got this, I don't even know, I think it's 3/16, and I've cut a 9-inch section. And I got 9 inches because I want to wrap the ends around the bumper. So I just kind of laid it up here on the front of the truck, eyeballed it, measured it, and it's the middle of the night. My lady's asleep, so I didn't want to wake her up with cutting metal, so I used this little pipe cutter. And it actually worked. Took a little bit, but just spinning my way through, cranking it down, and it gave me a nice clean cut. So yeah, you can see here I've got this vise mounted pipe tube bender thing. I'm trying to remember how to use it. It's been a while. I made an entire XO cage for a Jeep JK body, a RC one, for a while ago, but I never could get it to stay together, so that project got scrapped and sold. So got it out. I've got these interchangeable dies that go on it. Yeah, I'm gonna try to bend this. I've marked my center, and I've marked a couple other points out. I've got 3 inches, 3 inches, and then my center is 3 inches. And I'm just gonna put a light bend in the center. I've put the largest die on center on my bender, and the smallest one on the outside, just to give me the force I need. And the idea of this is you just get, I've got my center marked, so we'll run this through, try to center it. I'm trying to remember which way is center here. It's really tricky because you just kind of got to eyeball it, so it's gonna be interesting. I just need a slight bend in the middle, so I'm gonna mess with this off camera because I'm learning again here, so I don't want to bore you. Alright, I've got the basic shape done. I overbent the center and one of the sides, so I had to go back and bend them back just a hair, but I've gotten a nice fit. Now it's time to wrap the ends, and you can see I've put some marks on there. I hope you can see where the bends need to start, and it's good to kind of set a way with that. You can't mark where the center of the bend, and then the next bend you make, mark the start of the bend. It's just set one way you're going to measure it and roll with it. So I've marked where the bends need to start from the front. So I'm going to flip my dies around because this needs to be a broad bend. I need a big one on the outside, I think. Sure, I'm doing all this wrong, but I'm trying. So let's see. Put it in there. I need it to bend out. So I'm gonna turn it that way. It's gonna be okay. I can't. It's hard to do this because my vent vise isn't bolted down, because I like to move it around to different places around the shop. So I'm just gonna go for it. think we got too much. Yeah, it bent way too early. Alright, I'm gonna put it back. I'm gonna try again. Alright guys, well, I had some rough times with the bender. Not exactly right by any means. Everything's all off kilter. So I did another one by hand, just using the vise and my own pressure, and it's come out pretty good. Need a little more tweaking. I'm going to bend this side down here just a little bit more. Maybe figure out how to do this. Alright, so what I've learned so far, I can't pre-cut a section and do the bends in exactly the right spot. This bender is just not accurate. So, the best thing to do is to keep the design simple as possible, make the bend, and then cut the ends to length. So like my stinger, I want a really nice clean radius, and I don't know exactly how tall I want it yet, so I'm going to take what tubing I have left and bend my perfect angle around the large die, and then I'll come back and figure out a length and cut it. Alright, now we're cooking. So I already have this bend in it, and this is, I wanted the largest radius for the stinger, so I ended up with this much on this side. I can trim this one there or shorter as needed. So now I can start looking at how tall it's going to be on the body, where exactly I'm going to put it. I'm going to do some eyeballing and some measuring here to see what looks right on the truck, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece down, and then we'll start looking at how to mount it. Alright guys, it's been a couple days since I started this video. I did give it a shot with the propane, and it wasn't working, just wasn't hot enough, and I needed some different kind of solder, or whatever you call it, actual rods. So I went today and I got this MAP gas and oxygen torch. It's a mini torch. It's about 68 bucks, I believe, at local Home Depot. Thanks Thomas, this was the one that he recommended to me, and as you can see here, we've got contact. As you can see here, my propane didn't work so well. I burned a hole in my desk, in my scale garage floor. Luckily not in any crucial area. So I rebent the hoop because I was toying with some ideas all day about mounting, and so I've added some skids to go under, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. For now I'm just trying to get the structural, the front, the look, the bar, the idea of it together, and trying to learn how to do all this brazing. Unfortunately, I think I don't have the right rods for this. The set came with some straight brass rods, and it came with one flux coated brass rod, which is what just worked on here pretty well. Unfortunately they were out of those, so I couldn't buy any more, so I've only got one rod, so let's see how far I can get. And I've got a few ideas. I'm thinking of some support bars. I bought some smaller steel, and I'm also thinking of a light blue place to mount those, what are they called? Those off-road lights, the Baja Designs, little square lights. So yeah, going all out, trying it all first go. You know how that always goes. But yep, I'm gonna get back to burning. Alright guys, sorry about the noise. I've got a fan in the window here to vent all this since my workshop's not very well ventilated. See, I've added a support bar, got the other one mocked up, ready to go. I could have trimmed the ends of the rod down and made it set a little cleaner, but this is my first time, so I'm just excited it's staying together. We can always learn and develop more as we go, but for right now, I'm pretty happy. I'm going to put this other support bar on, and not exactly sure yet how I'm going to mount the lights. I've got some flat bar stock I may try to braze on. I really don't know yet. I need to start looking at ways of mounting it. The bottom of the bars here goes way under the vehicle, so they'll need to be trimmed. And I had this crazy idea. I was going to braze it to the Trailfinder 2 front bumper mount, but I don't know. It's aluminum. I don't think that'll work. I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one on before this whole thing cools off too much. Alright guys, sorry about the fan. I got venting in the room still. So I made another jig here with my new welding magnets. I cut down the mount bars and I used my new bench grinder sander thing I posted on Instagram. It's pretty cool. It actually smoothed out the ends, got them even, got them flat. So now I'm going to braze them to this flat stock, and I'm not going to cut it yet. I'm going to wait till I get it done. That way it's easy to handle still. If I just cut that down to the exact length, I'm going to have hell getting it to stay put. That's the key with this stuff, is management of the material while you're brazing it. That's the hardest part. When I did these little angle rods here, I had my vice grips, which are both now burned a little on the ends. I had them with the magnets held at the right angle into place, and that was about the best thing I could come up with on the fly. So I think if I'm going to move forward with brazing, the next step is going to be a designated area, a metal top bench with lots and lots of clamps and mounting places for clamps and stuff like that. So it's working really well. I put this on the vise and tried to bend one of the mounts a little bit, and it did bend a little at one of the welds. I think it was that side, but it didn't break. It didn't mess up. It's still strong, and I bent it back, and the joint still held just fine. So this stuff's pretty good. I'm surprised. I didn't know how strong this actually was. I watched a bunch of videos last night, got my confidence up, and here we are. So my plan is mount this, braze this to the flat stock, cut the flat stock down. Then I'm going to have to notch the air dam of the Amigo body just a little bit to clear these. And then I'm going to drill and bolt this flat piece to the Trailfinder 2 front bumper mount. I will have to cut the two little tabs off of it that are made for the Jeep body mount. But after that, drill, bolt, tighten, bam. Front bumper mounted to the frame. Sounds easy. We'll see. Alright guys, I got the mount modified and I've got the bracket bolted. I had to do a little creative shaping to fit the bracket around so it doesn't interfere too much with my body mounts that I made. But here we are. It's not perfectly straight. I've already mocked it up once. I had to do some more sanding, but I think it'll be alright. It's gonna look like it's been banged around a little bit. I think I'm pretty happy with it for my first try. Let's say that. I mounted it with some new scale bolts from Locked Up RC. I got some stuff from them finally, thanks to some encouragement from some of you guys, and not disappointed. It's pretty cool stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on and we'll see if it works. Alright guys, I'm pretty pumped. My creative sanding got it pretty dang straight. So now, if you couldn't tell, I mounted this to the original bracket. I cut the little tabs off that are for the Jeep body mount that barely hung out from under the edge of the bumper, and I bolted it directly to that, to my flat plate. I sanded them both down nice and smooth on my bench sander, so I got a good clean fit. And I trimmed the edges, and my body post, if you remember, is angled aluminum. It mounts to body mounts on the front, and it angled down and comes in bolts to the front bumper mount. So to take the body off, I've always had to take those screws out and the ones in the rear, and it comes off. So now I take those screws out, pull the bumper off, and then the body off. So it all comes off fairly easily. It's not a whole lot more work than it was. There's already a good amount of work to put this thing apart, but yeah, I think everything is back in like it's supposed to. Looks pretty good. That's really what I wanted. I want something basic. I mean, this being my first time brazing, I wanted to do something basic for my sake. And yeah, pretty clean and simple. I'm gonna wrap this video up here. I think the next installment will. I don't know about sandblasting this. I don't know how that brass will take. I think it'll eat right through it. So I'll probably just Scotch-Brite it all down and primer the heck out of it and paint it black so it matches the rear bumper that I got. And yeah, have a matching set. And maybe we can start looking at doing some sliders. That'd be pretty cool. Do something simple to match. That really sets it off. I'm excited about this. I did have to take the Dremel and round out a little bit of the front bumper, just maybe 2-3 millimeters up, just so it cleared those. I wanted to keep this as high as possible. I really wanted it to be narrower. Let's see if I can get you in there and show you. I wanted it to be a lot narrower, the mounts to be where I could just right here in the middle. I didn't want it in front of the leaf hangers, shackles, but it worked out. That plate, I just kind of come up with that on a whim, that steel rod, and it fits. It clears the full movement of these leaf springs so they don't move a whole lot. And yeah, you can kind of see the scale bolts peeking out down there. I'm excited. I still want to try to figure out a way to mount these lights to it. I toyed around with some brass tube, but apparently brazing brass tube is a different animal, and I melted some. I'd like to put them right here, one on each side. So I don't know how to attach this little bitty bracket to that yet. We'll cross that bridge on the next episode. Got to figure that out before we paint it. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned. We got a whole new world opened up to us now, so the metal is a new playground. So anyways, y'all stay tuned.